My name is Jill Finley, and my company is Jillily Studio. I design fabric for Righty Blake, and then I have a collection, a line of my own notions and products to go with that. So I'm going to start off today with Last Market's collection, which is shipping right now this month. It's just barely arrived at the warehouse, so it's just starting to ship. And that collection is called Honey Run, and I know you cannot see the color card from clear back there, so I'm just going to show you the quilts. And it's a black and white and gray collection, which features a bee motif and lots of fun little patterns related to bumblebees, or honeybees. This is the, let's go this way, it's confusing. This is the little two-color quilt that's in the collection. This is called Chain Reaction. The actual pattern, the real quilt, has another border with some hourglass blocks around the borders, makes it a little larger. This is just sample, and that's all the yardage we had, so you know how samples go. So that's Chain Reaction from Honey Run. And it's fun because the pattern's done up in black and white, gray and white, and also yellow and white, and all three colors are featured on the cover. And then on the back, the yardages are listed for all three colors, just so it kind of promotes the collection and helps you to sell the fabric. This one is called, what's this called? Scattered Sunshine. And you can see the fun little applique at the bottom. This is a great pattern for a beginner because it's got very simple piecing, just a few hourglass blocks and then straight strips. And actually the real quilt is bigger than this. This is just a sample once again to give you the idea. And then it does have a little bit of applique on it. The real quilt is a queen size. So when it lays on a bed, these flowers just kind of fall off the edge of the bed and it looks so pretty on a bed. And this applique is very simple. Large pieces, can you see the large pieces? And a little bit of bias vines. So that's a great one to teach beginners, to teach them beginning applique and even beginning piecing. And once again, that's Scattered Sunshine. Okay, this is called Daybreak, and this uses the yellows and grays in the collection. It's a little softer palette, not quite as much contrast, so it's a little more sweet and soft, pleasant, calming. Anyway, this one will be a really great one to teach a little bit of applique as well. The piecing in the center is simple corner triangle flip open piecing, which is easy for anyone to do. But the pieces are a little smaller than the other pieces that I've shown you. And then the applique is a little bit more intense because it's got a little bit more. You do two pieces here. You do the black leaf behind, and then you attach a gray leaf on top of it to soften it. So it gives you a lot of dimension and interest. It's a little bit more for a little bit more advanced sewer. And then this one is really fun. This is called Sweet to the Soul. It doesn't have it upside down. It's kind of, I guess you could do it the other way, but whatever. It's a collection of, this is a great one because it uses all the pieces in the collection. So you can do this with a 10-inch stacker, or you can, if you want to, in your shop, cut strips and make a kit because the pieces are done from strips. So I'm going to show you how that's done. Cindy, let's just lay this right here so we can just look at it while I hold up these. So right here I've got, this is a little storyboard that shows you how this is done. So you cut a strip, my on the right side, a strip that's 3.5 inches wide, and from that you have my new template set, which is called Hex Angle Template Set, Perfect Pieces. This is my second template set. The first set was called the Wedges, and I used that for several different quilts in the last collection. Let's see, somewhere I've got the box. You open that box. So these are some of the templates in the collection. And what happens is you cut your strip, and then you place your template on the strip, and just rotary cut. And then you can see that you rotate this around, and cut again. And you cut off these little corners, and that makes this go together just really beautifully. It comes together perfectly because you don't have to guess. This is an odd angle. It's not the normal 45-degree angle so that we can sew across the corner and flip. So it's easiest if you use a template. And then once you've got your templates, your half hexes cut, then you sew a little strip of a 1-inch wide piece on top, and you use the template once again to put on there and slice off that excess so that it matches the same angle. And then you add your border and you do the same thing to cut off those edges. So then you've got a piece of sashing in between the hexes. And let me show this. And then when the hexes come together, the half hexes, they create the full hexie. So we put on a sashing of only half the distance on the top and bottom. Can you see that? And that way it looks like they have the same amount of sashing around each hexie. And it makes it easy to piece because you're just piecing it in rows. So this one we've got the rows going up and down. You'll notice that there's some bees on this quilt. The bees are pieced in. Here we go. So this is how I piece in the bees. So we do a strip set, sew together some strips of black and yellow, and then use the template to cut your pieces. Okay, and this can rotate as well. You're going to cut your pieces for your bee body, that's the body, and then you have to use a template to cut this other piece, which is, for each half hexie, you'll have 3 of these equilateral triangles, right? So this piece is 2 triangles together, and I've got a template for that. And that's this piece right here, and it's also cut from a strip. So you're cutting that, cutting it as you go across. And once you've got this piece cut, you put it with this piece, you get a half hexie, and sew it to the whole hexie, and you've got your bees pieced into your quilt. Let me hold it up one more time. Let's go this way this time, maybe you were right. Okay, so you can see the rows going across now. Can you see this bee is pieced into here? Yeah. But his wings and his head are appliqued on after. So you do all the piecing. This is a really fun project. And if you use a 10-inch stacker, it makes it easy for you to cut as a shop, to cut a kit. Although I will tell you they waste a bit of fabric because you need 2 3.5-inch strips by 7 inches to make one of these half hexies. So you're going to waste, let's see, you're going to have 3 inches left over on each of the 10-inch stackers. So you can use the strips if you want to cut it, but if you want to save time as a shop, you can certainly use the 10-inch stackers. And then I pulled out of that stacker set all of the yellows, grays, and whites. And I did use 1 or 2 of the blacks if they had enough contrast with my sashing, because I wanted my sashing to really show those off. And the rest of them I just set aside to use for something else later. Then you need to buy a bit of the this one for the border, and of course you'll need more of the black beads for the sashing. So that one's called Sweet to the Soul. And we're going to leave it, let's just leave it right here. Okay. Now, I showed you all of that, so now we're going to do my new collection. And for my new collection, it's called It's the Berries. You're going to end up having to go to a farmer's market. And if you come by my booth, you'll be at a farmer's market, and I can show you all the cute, fun berry stuff we have. So, first of all, let's do some blackberries. This one is called, my assistant Cindy, look, she matches my fabric. Isn't that great? This is called Swiss Miss, and it's done in the black and white and also the red and white. And this is just a really fun collection. It's got this really delightful cross stitch pattern in the red and the black. And then these blocks, this one would be great to do as a block of the month. Can you see that in your shop? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 blocks. So each block, when it's pieced, it's just the white background, and then you add this scalloped edge, and that's appliqued on. So even if the block is a pieced block, you add the appliqued scalloped edge, And then you sew the sashings between them, which makes it look like that. So isn't that fun? I'm going to put this one, let's put it right here while we get the red one out. Nope. Bottom. There we go. Okay, so this is the red version. Red and white. It's a classic combination. Everybody loves red and white. Where's the birds? The birds are the only thing that need to go up right side up. They're fussy about that. They don't like to be upside down. Okay. That's the red and white version. Which one do you like best?
Black. Red. Black.
Black and white. Let's vote. Black and white? Okay, red and white? I think it's a tie. What do you think? That's pretty surprising. So anyway, this one also, the same blocks, but look how fun that is. So this one is great for, it's got high contrast. It gives you a little bit of detail when you're teaching a block of the month. This is perfect. Pretty simple blocks. It's doable within a month. Half of them are appliqué and half of them are pieced. Okay, that's Swiss Miss. Yep. This one is called Red Licorice, and I've outlined a block for you because this is a log cabin block. So you see this is the block that is repeated this hundreds of times, I can't remember how many times, throughout the whole quilt. But sometimes it's hard for people to see the log cabin. Because the logs are fat on the red side, the logs are fat and skinny on the white side, it gives you that nice curve instead of a straight diagonal that you get with a traditional log cabin block. So that allows you to create this really fun scallop, add a bit of applique to really finish it off, and it would actually be darling without the applique as well, don't you think? It's got a lot of interest and movement because of the background pieces that are in this collection. So it doesn't necessarily need the applique, but as you know, I love applique. Hey, there's Debbie back there. I owe you $20. Yeah, no kidding. All right. And then this little quilt is called Heart to Heart. Not a bit of applique on it. You can believe that? So just a simple little, this would be great for Valentine's. It's simple, it's only 36 inches square, and it uses a lot of the pieces in the collection, which is really fun. So it uses the red version of this large floral, and then the white version on this side of the large floral. Same thing here. The sashing is the white of the little mini floral, and then on this side the sashing is the red. So it's a study in opposites. It's really, really cute. Whenever I design a fabric collection, I usually have a floral, a large scale floral, and then a bunch of small florals that go with it. And this collection, I wanted to focus on the berries. So you'll notice that the large one has a lot of the berries and leaves, and it does have a few flowers in it as well. But the viney one, where do we see the viney one? Right here. The viney one, it's kind of a looser with less red on the white and less black on the white. And that one features the leaves and the berries. The leaves and the berries, not the flowers and the berries. So that's kind of fun. And I do have a berry garden, and I love it. Every year I just love, and my grandkids love going out and picking the berries out of that garden. And we enjoy making jam, and usually we just eat them all right then, you know. Apparently I'm not that good of a gardener because I would have had more, but anyway, it's the berries. And here's the color card. Let me just open it up quickly for you. You can see the large scale fabrics on the top, and then the rest of the pieces that coordinate with it. And a lot of high contrast, a lot of interesting detail that you can use these for. And there's the quilts that I've designed using it. This shows the scale. This is that one that has the large scale with the leaves and the berries. But shows you the detail that you're going to get. And the plaid on this one is so fun. So let's go to this one. Oh, I didn't talk about the plaid. So the plaid, I've got a red and white plaid and a black and white plaid, and then the other plaid is black with red. That ties them all together. And that's really fun. That's what I've used on the border of the Red Licorice quilt. And it's a plaid that is kind of a large scale, but it's placed on point. So it's easy to use. It's great to cut for borders because you don't have to worry about both plaids matching and having to be completely straight. So I like these cut on point. And then this quilt is called Jumbleberries. This one is using a charm pack. So actually I think it takes 2 charm packs, or 5-inch stackers is what we call them at Righty Blade. And then I've just added the corner triangles. So this is a very simple quilt, just a 5-inch stacker with corner triangles up with black on each one. Putting together creates the center. And then turning that on point and adding a bit of applique makes this really simple quilt very special. So a bit of applique is great, and then a nice big wide border. This quilt would be so fun on a table as a table topper, on a bed as a bed topper. I often design quilts that are squares, and they may not be really large, but I use them on beds, and I do it by turning them on point on the bed after the bed's all made, and then I can change them out a lot, and I get a lot of pop of color, and then it's a nice little quilt to cuddle up under, have a nap if you need a little extra blanket when you're sleeping at night and you don't have this whole big quilt. And it is a way to actually use your quilts, and I think we should use our quilts. I have some friends that just, they make a quilt and it's a treasure, and it is, but they don't touch it. They fold it up and put it away. Nobody's allowed to touch it. And I say use your quilts. Use them up. Make more. You're going to, 10 years later, you're going to look back and be maybe tired of that quilt. And so you're going to want something new. So go ahead and use them. Enjoy them. Let your kids use them. Let your grandkids play on them. I have one on my kitchen table every day, and we eat right there. Sometimes, we do fold the quilt away, but, it's got chocolate milk on it. In fact, as I was folding one of these, I saw a little stain of chocolate, and I remember that my quilter said to me, I'm working on your quilt, but someone was eating a lot of chocolate when they were making it. So that's me. Anyway, does anybody have any questions? We can go over the notions. This is the half hexy template set, which is called the Hex Angle Template Set. It's got four templates in it. This template set is called the Wedges Template Set, and it also has 4. And they're really nice because they have a nice non-slip edge. So it allows that red edge that you see that has the seam allowance allows you to keep it steady on your fabric so it doesn't slide. And also has center line markings so that you can center it up if you use it on piece projects or piecing. And then I have my maker paper, and I don't know, this is a pretty new product, came out last year, last fall, and this is an applique template maker. So this is a freezer paper type product, but it's 3 times thicker than regular freezer paper. So it's nice and heavy to make your templates with, and it will fit through your computer printer so that you don't have to trace everything. I'm trying to write all of my patterns now so that the templates that are needed in that pattern fit on a sheet so that you can just take that sheet from your pattern and to copy it directly onto the maker paper. And it's really a nice product. It doesn't crinkle and bubble as much as regular freezer paper because it's thicker. And there's all kinds of different things you can do with it, and they're explained in the instructions. So anyway, nice heavyweight fabric paper to use in your template making. And if you want to see videos on Jillily Studio method of applique, they're on my website. There's all kinds of videos for all of my different tools, and you're welcome to direct your customers there. All of my products have my website on it. If they go there, they can see the videos that explain it. So that's the maker paper. And then I have my tool set. And this is my applique set. It's got all of the tools that I use for applique. They're also sold individually, but they have come out in a set, which is a great product for your shop. If you have say you pick one of my patterns to do as a block of the month, you can suggest this because this is a $35 item, so there's a large profit margin in that for you. And I happen to know that shops, notions, you need to be pushing those notions. You have a higher profit margin value in your notion wall than you do on your fabric shelves. So even though the fabric is the bling and everybody comes for, you've got to push those notions because that's a lot of money sitting there, okay? And the customer doesn't, you don't need to pay anybody to cut it, to take care of it for you, or, make a quilt out of it. It's already there, and it'll sell if you have some way for people to know about it. So this is my glue, which many of you are familiar with, my applique glue. It's an archival quality basting glue for use in applique. These are my polka dots, which I use as a little sticky thimble. Put it on the end of your finger to push your needle with. Do you have these in your shop, anybody? If you don't have them, they're a great item to put right by your cash register. They're an impulse item. People love the little tin. It's cute. They pick it up and say, "What's this?" when they're checking out. And you say, "Oh, that's a little thimble." You know when you're sewing on bindings? And that's what I always mention. I developed these for applique, but I always mention bindings because not everyone appliques, but everyone has to bind. So when you're sewing on a binding and you get that hole in your finger, that's right where you put your polka dot. Push the back of your needle so that you don't get poked. It's a consumable product, which is wonderful for you because if they love it, they'll be back to buy more. Okay? And then I have my little Quilters Digit, which is like a tailor's awl, and it's for use so that instead of your finger, as you're preparing applique so that you don't get burned, that's why I call it a digit. And it's also helpful when you're running pieces through your sewing machine. There's a little booklet in here called Applique the Jillily Way that teaches how to do the method. Then I've got a little starch brush for applying the starch to the seam allowance of your prepared piece. And last of all in the set is a size 11 Bowen applique needles. And Bowen is my favorite needle maker. They have beautiful, wonderful needles that do a good job. They don't have any burrs on them. They're very, very smooth. They don't nick your fabric. They're the only needle maker in the world that still sands the inside of the eye so that your thread doesn't get cut by any little extra imperfections. So they do a great job. Really happy with them.